So did the Trump regime just undercut Supreme Court precedent, which the so-called conservative movement's been pushing for a very long time, and had a win in 2018 and then another win in 2023 by allowing businesses to deny gay people based on religious grounds the right to use services of these businesses, or in the case of the Supreme Court cases that I'm talking about, the right of a photography company to deny gay couples the right to use the photography services by this purported wedding photography company. Back in 2018, a case addressed wedding cakes and denying the right to serve, or allowing business owners to not do wedding cakes for gay couples if you just say you're doing it for like a religious reason. In 2018, technically they ruled that the state did not apply a neutrality test, and then it moved the precedent closer to basically allowing full-fledged discrimination, which they eventually ruled in the 2023 case called 303 Creative LLC versus Ellenis. But you had Donald Trump's Attorney General, Pam Bondi. She went on TV and she said that she's going to send the Civil Rights Division of the DOJ to basically target any business that says that they don't want to print like flyers or photographs that celebrate Charlie Kirk or that print Charlie Kirk quotes. And some businesses printing businesses don't want to do that. And so they're like, well, we're a private business and we have rights too. And, you know, if a business can say gay couples, we don't want to make your cakes or photograph you, why can't we as a business say, we don't want to print the Charlie Kirk stuff? Just find another business. You're going to force us to do it? Wouldn't that contradict the precedent that was created in 303 Creative LLC and some other cases like that? Take a listen to what Pam Bondi says, and let's talk about it.
That's horrific. It's free speech, that you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that immediately, that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that. But Sean,
so the government will be forcing speech of private businesses, which the Supreme Court also said has like First Amendment rights, right? With all of those election cases to speak as, but the government will force you that if you're not publishing documents or photos that are pro Charlie Kirk, our Civil Rights Division is going to come after you. But businesses, feel free to cite religion as a reason to not print out flyers for gay couples or for trans or for black people, or right. I mean, let's bring in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel. I mean, Harry, under the precedent that was set by the Supreme Court in 303, that 303C Creative LLC, if a business says, look, on religious grounds, I don't want to print out a photograph of a black person, or I don't want to print out a photograph of a Latino or gay people or whatever, the Supreme Court precedent would say you're discriminating against their religious beliefs if you force them to print it out. They don't have to do it. But when now it comes to and think about the slippery slope. Today it's Charlie Kirk. What about tomorrow? Is the regime gonna force businesses to print out flyers of Donald Trump and have Donald Trump's face, all those big banners that you see in the White House? You have to do it if you're a business. Like if I owned a printing press, and why not? I mean, what if in the future I wanted to buy a printing press? Trump can go and tell me I have to print out Donald Trump propaganda, or I have to print out anti-migrant stuff or stuff about ICE kidnapping people. What do you make of it, Harry?
Sounds pretty ridiculous and undemocratic, doesn't it? Well, guess what? It's even worse, way worse, Ben. Forget 303. Try 1943, the time of the landmark opinion by Justice Jackson in West Virginia versus Barnett, maybe one of the 10 most important quotes in our whole constitutional jurisprudence. Let me just quote you the money sentence. If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, and seems to me Bondi is both, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. The thing that makes this way crazier than the 303, those two cases, the bake shop, in those cases, municipalities passed laws and they said you may not discriminate, but they were trying to regulate private persons. This is government, an official, high and petty, saying, here's what you have to say. Government itself, it's as the most flagrant sort of textbook pre-first year violation of First Amendment law you can imagine. And I am really sorry to say, but our Attorney General is a moron for not being at all aware of this. She also said, at the same time, we're coming after people for hate speech. We can do that. Then someone said, Madam AG, you can't do that unless there's threats of violence. And then she quickly tried to repair things. These are such essential, bedrock, first year constitutional law elements that go right to different kinds of prosecutions that she is so flagrantly unaware of them is just a stunner. Just like you better go somewhere else and get ready for law school before you even try to come to law school. So she just doesn't understand. And I want to say, it's not like, oh, she doesn't understand this basic principle. She not only doesn't understand it, she's trying to violate it. So here she is out there saying, and elsewhere she said, it's those vile leftists who are doing it. She is out there exactly doing what Justice Jackson says is so fundamental. The government can't do, saying you've got to put up these flyers for Charlie Kirk. You must. We are prescribing what is orthodox. Exactly that. Number one, so plainly know that you don't. And by the way, as a prosecutor, which she ought to be thinking about, she ought to stay the hell out of, as should Trump, as should, everyone, the notions of who, is he left wing, is he right? She ought to make a case, because she is hurting her case. When she comes out and says these things, there's going to be a trial, and there's going to be the basis for certain kinds of motions to say that they used inappropriate considerations or matters. It can only hurt her case, and that should be no part of what she's doing. And not only is she doing it, but she's doing it in her patented Bondi, just tell me what I can do, Maximal Leader Trump, and literally jumping in to attack the left wing, whatever the hell that means. But you've taught con law, I've taught con law. I'm just going to say it again. It's a one sentence long that most any law student can memorize. If there is any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, nationalism, religion, or other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. She might as well say every block has to put up an I love Trump poster. She is just you would say a lawless kind of wicked actor, but she seems like, first and foremost, I'm sorry, an ignoramus. It's so very, very basic. She is so, over her head, and that an attorney general of the United States says this kind of thing is just completely unnerving and repugnant.
Here, play this clip.
Did I make clear what I think about this?
I think you did. Ben, play this just so people know. There's another Ben who's the editor. I don't talk to myself. And hey, Ben, play the clip. We have an editor named Ben. Ben, play the clip of Pam Bondi saying that it's the radical leftists, even though we have all of the messages. There's nothing to suggest that at all. But it's the radical leftists who killed Charlie Kirk. Here, play this clip.
Yes, who killed Charlie? Left-wing radicals, and they will be held accountable. So will anyone in this country who commits a violent crime against anyone. And the death penalty, thanks to...
Now, here's the thing, too, and she connected the two concepts. Now, I personally don't believe in the death penalty. Others may agree or disagree with that, but my own moral compass, the way it's been incorrectly used in other cases, even though perhaps there are very egregious cases where it makes sense. To me, the flaw rate when I've studied it, in my own opinion, I don't support it. But that said, assuming you did support it and you thought you needed to use the death penalty in a case like this, okay? Her saying radical leftist and connecting that to the death penalty, it's going to, if you wanted the death penalty in a case, if you were Tyler Robinson's lawyer, you would be able to pretty much, I think, prevail in stopping the death penalty by arguing it's not based on the underlying facts, it's based on a political animus. And this is one of the examples where you can't use the death penalty now, because look what the DOJ is saying now. As far as we know, Tyler has basically confessed. There's lots of messages, and there's a lot on this guy. But if there wasn't, and he took the right to remain silent and kept it, which he didn't, as far as we know at this point. It seems that he basically admitted to everything. They would have a lot of problems in this case, based on what they said. All of these statements would come out in a trial. You would say, wait a minute, are you saying it was my client or the radical leftists? Or, so look, the fact that he confessed and the fact that they found the killer, the fact that we know who it is, that's a good thing. Like that the conduct is reprehensible here. What took place is utterly reprehensible. We condemn in the strongest possible terms the violence. Had they handled it this way and someone objected or someone put on a defense, Harry, all those words would have come back to backfire.
100%, and they still may. It's like breathtaking incompetence. We now have the top two officials in the Department of Justice, Ben. We had Todd Blanche's little junket to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell, and what she's calling a quid pro quo, except only for Trump's personal race. So flagrantly improper. Now we have the highest person. If there were anyone higher in the Department of Justice and the Department of Justice were functioning normally, that higher person would call Bondi on the carpet and say, what the F are you doing? You want to lose this case for us? This is it. So it's tawdry and wrong for, in the political sphere where I'm, that's for politicians to argue about. And I couldn't agree with you more on the basic fact, and law enforcement, it's just terrible, completely to be condemned, absolutely a heinous offense. But man, if a line prosecutor, a paralegal said anything like this, knowing that it could be used and turned around to try to challenge the death penalty, or to try to challenge intent, or to try to put the government on trial in a case where, as you say, they don't have that much to go on, she would be off the team in a heartbeat, because she would have demonstrated, as she has, her incompetence. So that double dose here, Ben, of just nasty, inappropriate politics for a cabinet officer and attorney general sworn to uphold the Constitution, and the complete fecklessness and lack of any sophistication for the case itself, which is what matters. It's breathtaking. And if I had another, I've said my piece about Bondi, but just from start to finish, this also strikes me about her. She never fails to do what seems to be the worst possible action. But man, oh man, as a prosecutor, she gets an F- here.
Harry Litman, Talking Feds YouTube, Talking Feds podcast, Talking Feds Substack. everybody subscribe to all of Harry Litman's platforms right after this. Just search on YouTube, Talking Feds, and watch Harry's hot takes. Thanks, Harry.
Hey, thanks, Ben.
Everybody hit subscribe here as well. Let's get to 6 million here.
New Meidas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.meidastouch.com.